Pain, that's where it all begins. Everyone wants to be strong until strength is the only option left. The truth is, you can't learn to be unbreakable sitting in comfort, waiting for life to be kind. You become unbreakable when you learn to stand in the fire and not flinch. Pain is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It shows you exactly who you are when the world stops cheering, when your motivation dies, and when no one is watching. That's the moment you meet the real version of yourself. The one who doesn't quit, doesn't look for an easy way out, and doesn't care how bad it hurts. Most people spend their lives running from pain. They build walls to protect themselves from struggle, but what they don't realize is that every wall they build makes them weaker. You can't hide from life and expect to win. You can't avoid discomfort and expect to grow. You have to step into the storm. Pain is the price of strength. Every second you spend in it, every time you choose to push through instead of backing down, you're earning something no one can give you. The power to endure. When the body starts to fail, when the mind starts to scream, that's the edge where growth begins. That's the place most people quit because it hurts too much, because it feels impossible. But that's the moment you have to lean in. The pain is a signal, not a stop sign. It's your body telling you that you're entering a new level. The discomfort you feel is the sound of your limits being tested. And every time you ignore that pain and keep going, you expand those limits just a little bit more. That's how you build the kind of mind that doesn't break when life gets dark. Being unbreakable isn't about having some special talent or secret mindset. It's about doing the hard things over and over again until the pain becomes normal. It's about turning suffering into your daily gym. When everyone else runs away from it, you run toward it. Because you know that comfort is the enemy of greatness. Comfort is where your dreams go to die. Pain, on the other hand, is where your true potential is hiding, waiting for you to be brave enough to face it. You see, life will always test you. It doesn't care about your feelings or your excuses. It doesn't care how tired you are or how unfair things seem. It's going to throw everything at you: loss, failure, heartbreak, doubt. And it's going to watch what you do next. That's the moment you decide who you are. Are you the kind of person who breaks when it gets hard? Or are you the kind of person who stands up, bleeds, sweats, cries, and keeps walking anyway? The difference between broken and unbreakable isn't strength, it's choice. When you start embracing pain instead of avoiding it, everything changes. You stop being afraid of what might go wrong. You stop being controlled by fear. You start seeing challenges as opportunities to prove what you're made of. That's when pain becomes power. You no longer suffer for nothing. You suffer with purpose. Every repetition of hardship, every lonely night, every disappointment, it's all shaping you into something unshakable. People who run from pain stay soft. People who face it rise. But let me tell you something, it doesn't happen overnight. You can't read about it, talk about it, or post about it and expect to become strong. You have to live it. You have to earn it in silence, when nobody's clapping for you, when it feels like you're the only one fighting. You have to drag yourself through the mud of self-doubt and exhaustion and still show up. That's where the transformation happens. That's when pain becomes not something to fear, but something to respect, because it's teaching you discipline, resilience, and control, the foundation of being unbreakable. When the pain hits, your mind will start whispering lies. It will tell you that you've done enough, that you deserve to stop, that you can't handle it anymore. That's the weak voice. That's the part of you that's been protected by comfort too long. You've got to learn to shut it up. You've got to learn to keep going when your mind says stop, because pain isn't permanent, it's temporary, but quitting, that lasts forever. Every time you give in to pain, you train your mind to break easier next time. Every time you push through, you train it to endure more. That's how you build an unbreakable spirit. Pain has a strange way of revealing the truth. It strips away your pride, your ego, your excuses, and leaves you with raw honesty. It shows you exactly how much you want it. Anybody can talk about being great when things are easy. But when your body is shaking, when your breath is heavy, when your vision starts to blur, that's when it's decided. You either prove that you want it or you prove that you don't. Pain is the judge that never lies. You can use pain as punishment, or you can use it as power. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. The choice is always yours. The truth is, pain doesn't care. It will visit you no matter who you are, rich or poor, strong or weak. The difference is in how you respond. The unbreakable ones take that pain and turn it into fuel. They use it to sharpen their focus, strengthen their resolve, and deepen their hunger. They don't look for the easy way. They look for the way that hurts the most, because they know that's where the growth is hiding. And once you learn to live with pain, to welcome it, to sit with it, to use it, you become free. Free from fear, free from excuses, free from the illusion that life is supposed to be easy. You start seeing pain as proof that you're still in the fight. You start craving it because you know that every bit of pain you endure takes you closer to the version of yourself that cannot be broken. When you embrace the pain, you become dangerous, not because you can't feel it, but because it no longer controls you. You understand that pain is part of the process, part of the journey. You know that every drop of sweat, every tear, every moment of struggle is making you tougher, sharper, and more alive than ever before. The world can't touch someone who has made peace with pain. That's what makes you unbreakable, not the absence of struggle, but the refusal to surrender to it. So stop running. Stop looking for shortcuts. Stop waiting for things to get easier. They won't. You get stronger. You get harder. You get smarter. You start to understand that pain isn't there to stop you. It's there to shape you. You start to realize that the very thing you've been avoiding is the key to your transformation. Once you embrace the pain, there's nothing left that can break you. Because you've already faced the worst and you didn't flinch. You stayed. You fought. You endured. And that's when you finally understand. Pain doesn't destroy you. It reveals you. It shows you that you were unbreakable all along. Motivation is easy. It's the spark that makes you feel unstoppable for a moment, the rush that pushes you to start something new. But motivation doesn't last. It fades the second life hits back, the second it gets uncomfortable, the second you don't feel like doing it anymore. That's where discipline steps in. Discipline isn't about feelings. It's about decisions. It's doing what needs to be done when the excitement is gone, when the room is quiet, when there's no applause waiting for you at the finish line. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you moving when everything inside you wants to quit. Most people live their lives chasing motivation like it's the key to success. They watch videos, listen to speeches, read books, waiting for something to light that fire again. But the truth is, you don't need another fire. You need control, because motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is logical. When you're tired, when you're in pain, when your mind says, I can't, discipline says, do it anyway. That's the difference between being ordinary and being unbreakable. You see, motivation makes you work when it's convenient. Discipline makes you work when it's hell. Motivation disappears when it rains, when it hurts, when things don't go your way. Discipline shows up regardless of the weather, regardless of the mood. It doesn't care how you feel. It only cares about what needs to be done. And that's what separates the weak from the strong. Consistency in the absence of comfort. Because success isn't built in moments of hype. It's built in the quiet repetition of hard work, day after day. When you build discipline, you stop relying on emotions to dictate your effort. You stop waiting to feel ready, because readiness is a lie. You'll never feel ready to grind, to suffer, to push past your limits. And that's exactly why you need to. Discipline is about showing up for yourself, not because you feel like it, but because you promised yourself you would. It's about keeping that promise even when no one will ever know if you break it. Discipline is doing the work that others avoid, not because it's fun, but because it's necessary. The unbreakable ones understand that discipline is freedom. Freedom from laziness, freedom from excuses, freedom from weakness. It gives you control over your mind, your body, and your direction. It means you're no longer a slave to your feelings. You don't need to be in the right mood. You don't need external energy. You've built the internal system that drives you. That's where true strength begins. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you're building a layer of toughness. Every morning you get up before the sun, every workout you finish when your legs are screaming, every time you say no to the easy path, you're reinforcing a foundation that no one can shake. That's how you become unbreakable. It's not a single act of greatness. It's 1,000 small choices stacked together, made when no one's watching, made when it hurts the most. People talk about wanting to change their lives, but they're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect feeling. That moment doesn't exist. There's only now. The discipline to act right now, regardless of how you feel, is what creates transformation. Every great person you admire didn't rely on motivation. They relied on habits, systems, structure. They trained their minds to obey, not to negotiate. Because the mind loves to make deals. It loves to say, we'll start tomorrow. Or, you've done enough. You've got to stop negotiating with your weakness. You've got to learn to move without permission. When you wake up and your mind says, stay in bed, that's the moment of truth. That's the battle. If you hit snooze, you've already lost. But if you move, if you push, if you rise, you win. Not because it was easy, but because you prove to yourself that you control you. That's what discipline is, mastery of self. Once you master that, nothing outside can break you. No challenge, no obstacle, no failure. Because the hardest enemy you'll ever face is your own comfort. Beat that, and the rest of the world becomes easy. Discipline doesn't come with inspiration. It comes with repetition. You train it the same way you train a muscle, by showing up even when you don't want to. The first few days will feel impossible. Your mind will resist, your body will complain, and everything in you will scream to stop. But if you push through, something shifts. That resistance becomes weaker. The voice telling you to quit starts losing power. You start realizing that most of your limits were lies you believed. That's when you become dangerous. Because once you know you can act without feeling ready, you can do anything. And the beauty of discipline is that it compounds. Every act of self-control builds momentum. You stop needing motivation to move. You just move. You stop waiting for energy. You create it. You stop needing validation. Your work becomes your validation. Discipline teaches you that you are enough, that your actions define you more than your emotions ever will. And when life throws pain your way, when adversity strikes, you don't fall apart because discipline has already built the structure to hold you together. There's nothing glamorous about discipline. It's not loud. It's not exciting. It's not something you can show off. It's waking up early when no one's watching. It's putting in hours of work that no one will ever praise. It's eating clean, staying focused, grinding through boredom, staying locked in on your purpose while everyone else is distracted. It's lonely, it's repetitive, and it's exhausting. But that's why it works, because it strips away the weak parts of you and leaves behind something pure: consistency, resilience, power. When the storms come, and they will, motivation will be gone. But discipline will keep you standing. It's what will make you show up after failure, what will make you move when you're drained, what will keep you believing when no one else does. Discipline doesn't care about how many times you fall. It cares about how many times you stand back up. It's the difference between "I wish I could" and "I did." And here's the truth that most people don't want to hear: discipline hurts. It's supposed to, because it's a constant fight against the part of you that wants to stay weak. But every time you win that fight, even in the smallest way, you grow stronger. You start trusting yourself. You start realizing that the person you used to be, the one who made excuses, who gave up, who waited for motivation, doesn't control you anymore. You've built something new, something solid, something unbreakable. You'll look back one day and realize that it wasn't the big moments that changed you. It was the mornings you didn't skip, the workouts you finished, the promises you kept, the days you didn't feel like showing up but did anyway. That's the art of becoming unbreakable. Not through inspiration, but through discipline. Because discipline doesn't rely on the world to make you move. It comes from within. It's the quiet force that says, no matter what, I'll keep going. When you've got discipline, pain doesn't scare you, failure doesn't stop you, and fear doesn't control you. Because you've already built the habit of doing hard things. You've trained your mind to obey your will. That's when you realize you don't need motivation to be great. You need commitment. You need consistency. You need discipline. And once you've got that, nothing, not pain, not doubt, not fear, can break you. You become unstoppable. You become unbreakable. There's a voice inside you that you've been listening to for too long. It's that quiet, familiar whisper that shows up every time things get hard. It tells you to take it easy, to slow down, to stop pushing yourself. It says, you've done enough for today. It says, you're tired, you deserve a break. That's the weak voice. It sounds like comfort, but it's destruction. It's the part of you that keeps you small, that protects your comfort, but kills your potential. If you want to become unbreakable, you have to learn how to silence that voice, not by arguing with it, but by acting against it. That weak voice is clever. It doesn't scream, it whispers. It doesn't command, it suggests. It knows exactly what to say to make you doubt yourself. It knows how to sound reasonable. It will tell you things like, you've worked hard enough, or tomorrow's a better day to start. It disguises itself as self-care, as logic, as kindness. But what it's really doing is keeping you from becoming the person you're meant to be. The weak voice doesn't want you to grow because growth hurts. It wants you to stay where you are because comfort feels safe. But nothing great has ever come from comfort. You've got to learn to recognize that voice for what it is: the enemy. Every single person has that battle going on inside their mind, the war between the strong voice and the weak one. The strong voice says, let's go. We've got work to do. The weak one says, take it easy. It's okay to rest. The strong voice says, keep running. The weak one says, you've done enough. And every time you choose which voice to obey, you're building one and starving the other. The problem is, most people keep feeding the weak voice. They listen, they obey, they let it guide their decisions. And every time they do, that voice grows louder, stronger, more controlling. That's how people end up stuck, because they've handed over control to the weakest part of themselves. To silence that weak voice, you have to stop negotiating with it. You can't reason with weakness. You can't wait until it disappears. You have to crush it by action. Every time it tells you to stop, you go further. Every time it says you can't, you prove that you can. That's how you kill it. Not by talking back, but by doing the opposite. You have to build evidence in your own mind that the weak voice doesn't speak the truth. Because the more you push past it, the more you realize that voice has been lying to you your whole life. It said you were too tired, but you had more left. It said you couldn't handle pain, but you did. It said you couldn't win, but you did anyway. That weak voice lives off your comfort. It grows when you avoid struggle. It thrives when you choose the easy path. The only way to starve it is through consistent discomfort. Wake up early when it says sleep. Train when it says rest. Focus when it says quit. That's how you rewire your mind. That's how you build the inner strength that no one can take from you. Every small victory over that weak voice adds another layer to your armor. Eventually, the voice doesn't disappear. It just gets quieter. You still hear it, but you stop obeying it. You start recognizing it as a test, not a truth. The strongest people aren't the ones who never hear that weak voice. They're the ones who stop letting it control them. They've trained their minds to move regardless of how they feel. They've learned that emotions lie. Feelings are temporary. Pain fades, but quitting becomes a habit. You can't let a moment of weakness define a lifetime of effort. When your mind says, I can't, that's exactly when you prove that you can. The weak voice only has power if you believe it. Once you stop believing, it becomes nothing more than background noise. You have to understand that your mind will always look for the path of least resistance. It's wired for survival, not greatness. It wants to protect you from pain, not push you toward progress. That's why it tries to keep you safe, even when safe is destroying you. It tells you to slow down because it thinks struggle equals danger. But in reality, struggle equals growth. Pain equals progress. So when that voice tries to hold you back, it's not being kind, it's being afraid. And you can't let fear drive your life. You've got to be stronger than that. You've got to train your mind to operate under pressure, to take pain and turn it into energy, to stay calm and keep moving when everything inside you wants to stop. Silencing that weak voice doesn't mean you stop feeling tired or afraid or unmotivated. You'll still feel all of it, but you'll stop letting those feelings dictate your actions. You'll stop giving them control. The weak voice wants you to live by emotion. The strong mind lives by commitment. The weak voice says, I feel. The strong one says, I decide. That's the difference. You can't wait to feel strong to act strong. You act strong first, and the feelings follow later. When you start winning that internal battle, something changes. You begin to trust yourself again. You start realizing that you are capable of far more than you ever imagined. You stop looking for motivation from the outside because you've found power within. You stop letting fear set your limits. The more you silence that weak voice, the clearer everything becomes. You start hearing the truth beneath it. The truth that says you were built for more, that you're not done, that your potential is still waiting. That truth has always been there, but it's been buried under layers of doubt and comfort. You dig it out every time you choose to fight. The weak voice isn't evil. It's human. It's part of you, but you can't let it lead. It's there to test you, to give you something to rise above. You learn discipline by facing it, strength by resisting it, courage by defying it. The weak voice is what allows the strong one to exist. Without that internal conflict, there would be no growth. So don't hate it. Use it. Let it remind you that you still have work to do. Let it push you further into discomfort, because every time you beat it, you prove to yourself that you're not like everyone else. You're not controlled by weakness. You're driven by purpose. And that's what being unbreakable is about. It's not about never feeling doubt or fear. It's about hearing that weak voice and moving anyway. It's about saying, I see you, but you don't control me. Every challenge, every workout, every struggle, they all give that weak voice a chance to speak, and they give you a chance to silence it again. The more you do it, the stronger your mind becomes. Eventually, that voice becomes powerless. It tries to whisper the same old excuses, but you've outgrown them. You've become too strong to listen. When the world gets loud, when life hits hard, and that inner voice tries to pull you back into comfort, remember this, it's not trying to protect you, it's trying to limit you. You've come too far to be held back by weakness. You've fought too hard to give in now. So when it says stop, go harder. When it says rest, push further. When it says you can't, remind it that you already did. That's how you silence it. That's how you take control. Because once you master your inner voice, the outside world has nothing left to throw at you. No pain, no fear, no failure can touch you. You've already fought the toughest battle, the one inside your own head, and you won. That's the art of becoming unbreakable. Not because you never hear that weak voice again, but because it no longer has any power over you. You've silenced it through action, through consistency, through relentless will. And in that silence, you find freedom. The freedom to become everything you were meant to be. The mind is like skin. It calluses through friction, through pressure, through pain. You don't build toughness by talking about it. You build it by living through the moments that try to break you. Every time you face discomfort and keep going, you're forming a layer of protection. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes repetition. It takes 1,000 moments where you could have quit but didn't. That's how the mind hardens, not into arrogance, but into resilience. The unbreakable ones aren't born with thick skin. They've earned it through pain, through struggle, through surviving what others would run from. When you start something difficult, your mind is soft. It complains. It resists. It wants comfort, escape, relief. That's normal. But the goal is not to remove the pain, it's to adapt to it. Just like hands callous after gripping rough metal day after day, your mind adapts to stress when you refuse to back down. The first time you push yourself past your limit, it hurts. The second time, it still hurts, but less. By the 100th time, that same pain that once made you quit now feels like nothing. That's what mental collusing does. It transforms suffering from an obstacle into a familiar environment. It doesn't make the pain disappear. It just makes you stronger than the pain. Most people never build mental colluses because they never stay in the discomfort long enough. The moment life stings, they run. The moment things get tough, they stop. They never give the mind a chance to adapt. But you can't build endurance in the absence of struggle. You can't develop strength if you constantly protect yourself from challenge. The only way to harden the mind is to keep stepping into the situations that hurt, and instead of escaping them, endure them. You have to train your mind the same way you train your body. Through consistent, intentional stress, every time you face hardship and survive, you're adding armor. Every time you feel pain and refuse to fold, you're rewiring your mind to understand that discomfort isn't fatal. When you go through failure, rejection, loneliness, exhaustion, and you don't break, something inside you changes. You start realizing that you can handle more than you thought. The fear that once controlled you starts losing its grip. You stop fearing struggle because you've been through it so many times that it no longer surprises you. That's mental collusing, familiarity with adversity. It's like standing barefoot on rough ground. At first it cuts, it burns, it feels impossible to walk. But over time, your feet harden. The same ground that used to hurt now feels normal. That's the process of becoming unbreakable. You go through pain after pain until it no longer scares you. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding logically. You don't flinch when life tests you because you've been tested too many times to care. You've learned that pain is part of growth, not a reason to quit. People who avoid struggle stay fragile. They may look strong when life is easy, but when things fall apart, they shatter. They never trained their minds for chaos. But those who've lived through pain, real pain, they develop something unshakable inside. They don't panic when things go wrong because they've already been there. They've lived through worse. They've walked through darkness and kept moving. That's what mental calluses give you. The ability to stay calm when everyone else loses control. When your mind is collused, you don't react to negativity the same way. You don't get offended by small things. You don't crumble under criticism. You stop expecting life to be easy. You expect pain and you prepare for it. That doesn't make you cold. It makes you focused. It gives you clarity. It gives you control. Because when you've trained your mind to endure discomfort, nothing catches you off guard anymore. You start welcoming the hard moments because you know they're shaping you. Mental collusing doesn't mean becoming emotionless. It means becoming emotionally disciplined. It's the ability to feel pain, acknowledge it, but not be ruled by it. It's being tired, but still showing up. It's being scared, but still moving forward. It's understanding that your mind can handle more than it believes. You have to remind yourself that growth and pain live in the same place. You can't reach one without going through the other. The difference between people who succeed and people who fail isn't talent. It's tolerance. The ability to tolerate discomfort for long enough to reach the other side. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to toughen your mind. Every day you're tired, every moment you're stressed, every time you doubt yourself, that's training. It's not punishment, it's preparation. The pain you're feeling now is conditioning you for the storms ahead. You don't build strength in peaceful times, you build it in chaos. So stop asking for things to get easier. Ask to get stronger. Ask to get harder. Ask to get more resilient. That's how the process works. When you build mental calluses, you start operating differently. You stop being afraid of effort. You start seeing struggle as the price of mastery. You start understanding that pain doesn't stop you. It refines you. Every scar becomes a reminder that you've survived worse before. Every setback becomes proof that you can adapt again. And soon, the things that once broke you don't even bother you anymore. You stop needing things to go your way. You stop needing approval. You stop needing comfort. You realize that you're in control now. That's what separates the unbreakable from the ordinary. The ordinary avoid the grind. The unbreakable live in it. They seek the friction that others fear because they know that's where transformation happens. They know that every repetition of pain, every day of struggle is a chance to harden the mind a little more. That's why they don't stop when it hurts. They keep going until it stops hurting. They understand that the mind is like a muscle. It only grows when it's torn. And here's the truth. Losing your mind doesn't mean you become immune to pain. It still hurts. You still feel the struggle, but now you understand it. You've built a relationship with it. You know that pain isn't the signal to quit. It's the signal to push. You stop fearing it because you've been through it so many times that it's no longer unfamiliar. It becomes a companion, a constant reminder that you're alive, that you're progressing, that you're still in the fight. Most people live soft because they never let themselves face enough discomfort to change. They want the reward without the resistance. But you can't have both. To become unbreakable, you've got to let life rough you up a little. You've got to fail, fall, bleed, get back up, and keep moving. Every time you rise again, the pain of the fall matters less. Every time you survive, your tolerance increases. Until one day, nothing can shake you. Not because life got easier, but because you got harder. Losing your mind means building strength in silence. It means showing up when no one's watching. It means pushing yourself in ways no one will ever see. The world doesn't give medals for endurance, but the reward is bigger than any applause. It's peace. The peace of knowing you can handle anything. The confidence that no matter what happens, you won't break because you've already built the armor. You've already walked through the fire. You've already proven to yourself that you can endure. That's the art of becoming unbreakable. It's not about being fearless or invincible. It's about being so used to pain that it no longer defines you. It's about having a mind that's been hardened by repetition, shaped by struggle, and strengthened through endurance. When the world throws its worst at you, you don't collapse. You smile because you've been here before. You've felt worse. You've survived more. And you know that whatever happens next, you'll still be standing. That's the power of mental losing. The power to face life head on and never break. Adversity is the forge where character is made. It's the raw heat that burns away the weak parts of you and reveals what's real underneath. Most people spend their lives running from it, praying that life goes easy, hoping that the storms pass quickly. But you don't become unbreakable by avoiding the storms. You become unbreakable by learning to walk through them. Every hardship, every loss, every betrayal, every failure, it's all training. Life is shaping you with pain so you can handle more, endure more, and rise higher. The trick isn't to avoid adversity, it's to use it, to turn every wound into armor. When something goes wrong, the first instinct is to ask, why me? But the truth is adversity doesn't care who you are. It's not personal. It's the universe testing how bad you really want it. Everyone says they want strength, but few are willing to go through what it takes to earn it. Strength isn't built when everything goes right. It's built when everything falls apart and you still choose to stand. Adversity strips away the illusion of control. It exposes who you are when you've got nothing left but willpower. And that's the moment you find out what you're truly made of. You see, adversity is not the enemy. It's the teacher. It gives you the lessons that comfort never will. It teaches you patience when everything slows down, humility when you fall, and resilience when you get back up. Every scar carries a story, and every story carries proof that you didn't give up. The pain that broke you yesterday becomes the strength that carries you tomorrow. The situations that made you cry become the fuel that drives you forward. Adversity gives you something no comfort zone can ever offer. Perspective. You stop fearing difficulty because you start seeing it for what it is, a chance to grow harder, smarter, tougher. When you face adversity, you have two choices. You can let it define you or you can let it refine you. Most people let it define them. They let it change how they see themselves. They start believing they're unlucky, cursed, not good enough. They build walls instead of weapons. They surrender instead of adapting. But the ones who rise, the unbreakable ones, they look at the same pain and say, good, now I get to grow. They use the fire to harden their resolve. They take every failure as feedback. They turn every setback into strategy. They understand that pain isn't the end. It's the beginning of something greater. Every time life hits you, you're being given material to build your armor. The betrayal that shattered your trust becomes the reason you develop emotional strength. The failure that humiliated you becomes the reason you learn discipline. The heartbreak that crushed you becomes the reason you discover self-worth. Every blow adds another layer, another shield, another weapon. Soon, you start to realize that the things that once broke you no longer affect you the same way. You've turned your wounds into wisdom, your pain into power. That's how you turn adversity into armor. You don't have to love pain to grow from it, but you do have to respect it. You have to understand that every challenge you face is an opportunity to get better. The unbreakable mindset doesn't say, I hope nothing bad happens. It says, no matter what happens, I'll handle it. That's strength. It's not about pretending you're invincible. It's about becoming so resilient that nothing can shake your core. You stop being afraid of losing because you realize you've already survived worse. You stop being afraid of failing because you know you can rebuild. You stop being afraid of pain because you've learned that it's temporary, but what it teaches lasts forever. Adversity is the gym for your spirit. Every setback is a rep. Every obstacle is resistance. The harder life pushes, the stronger you get if you keep pushing back. People want success without suffering, but that's not how it works. The greater your ambition, the greater your adversity. The higher your mountain, the stronger your legs must become. You can't build strength without weight, and you can't build resilience without resistance. So when life adds more pressure, don't ask for relief, ask for power. Because every ounce of struggle you face is building you into someone who can carry more. The truth is, adversity doesn't just build toughness, it builds empathy, awareness, and depth. Once you've been through real pain, you stop taking things for granted. You stop complaining about small problems. You stop looking for validation because you've found purpose. Adversity strips you down to nothing so you can finally see what actually matters. It teaches you to appreciate peace because you've tasted chaos. It teaches you gratitude because you've known loss. That's the kind of wisdom you can't buy, can't fake, can't learn in comfort. You earn it through suffering, and it becomes part of who you are. The world tries to convince you that adversity is a punishment, but it's not. It's preparation. It's preparing you for the battles ahead, for the storms you haven't even seen yet. Every difficult season is shaping you into someone capable of handling more. You might not understand it while you're in the middle of it, but every moment of struggle has a purpose. One day you'll look back and realize that the pain you hated was the foundation of your strength. Every scar you carry will tell a story of survival, of endurance, of becoming unbreakable. When you live through enough adversity, you stop breaking under pressure. You start thriving in it. You stop seeing pain as a setback and start seeing it as a signal that you're leveling up. Life doesn't get easier. You just get tougher. You start walking differently, thinking differently, moving differently. You carry a quiet confidence because you've earned it through battle. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone because the struggle already proved you to yourself. You've been tested and you're still here. And that's what makes you dangerous. Not that you never fall, but that you always rise. Every fall taught you how to get up faster. Every heartbreak taught you how to heal stronger. Every failure taught you how to fight smarter. Adversity has trained you for war without you even realizing it. You've built armor around your mind, not to hide behind it, but to protect the strength inside you. You've learned how to walk through pain without losing focus, how to keep moving when the road disappears, how to stay calm in chaos. So when life hits you again, and it will, don't panic. Don't ask, why me? Stand up, breathe, and remind yourself, I've been here before. You've already survived enough to know that you can take it. You've already built the armor. You've already proven that nothing can break you unless you let it. Adversity doesn't destroy you. It introduces you to yourself. It shows you that strength was never something you had to find. It was something you had to uncover. The secret isn't to pray for an easy life. It's to pray for the strength to handle a hard one. Because when you learn to turn adversity into armor, life stops scaring you. You stop dreading the next challenge. You stop waiting for things to go your way. Instead, you face every storm head on, knowing that each one only makes you stronger. That's what it means to be unbreakable. To look at pain and see purpose, to face chaos and find calm, to take everything life throws at you and turn it into fuel. You stop running from adversity because you've learned that it's not there to hurt you. It's there to build you. And once you've built that kind of armor, nothing in this world can pierce it again. Becoming unbreakable isn't just about surviving pain. It's about transforming into someone who leads by example, someone who becomes the standard others measure themselves against. Most people are waiting for motivation, waiting for someone to inspire them, waiting for a sign to move. But those who are truly unbreakable stop waiting. They become the sign. They become the proof that it's possible. You can't follow the path if you were meant to build your own. You can't live on borrowed energy forever. There comes a time when you have to stop chasing role models and start becoming one. When you decide to become the standard, you stop living on other people's expectations. You stop needing approval. You stop caring about who's watching. You start moving for yourself. You start grinding when no one's clapping. You start holding yourself accountable when no one's checking. Because the truth is, greatness doesn't happen under the spotlight. It's built in the silence when no one's there to see it. The unbreakable ones understand that. They hold themselves to a higher code, a personal standard that doesn't depend on mood, motivation, or recognition. Most people want to look strong, few are willing to live strong. They post quotes, they talk big, they act tough, but the moment things get uncomfortable, they fold. Being the standard means doing the things others avoid. It means being honest when lying would be easier. It means showing up when no one expects you to. It means refusing to lower your standards just because the world around you has. You don't wait for others to set the bar. You raise it every single day, because once you become the standard, mediocrity can no longer satisfy you. Becoming the standard is lonely work. It requires standing apart from the crowd. It means making decisions that won't make sense to others. It means going to bed early when everyone else is out. It means training when everyone else is sleeping. It means saying no to comfort, no to excuses, no to shortcuts. You're not doing it to be seen. You're doing it because you demand more from yourself. You're doing it because deep down, you know you're capable of more than what the world expects of you. You're not here to blend in. You're here to set the example. When you become the standard, you stop asking, what's everyone else doing? And start asking, what do I need to do? You stop comparing your pace to others because you realize no one's running your race. You become your own competition. Every day you wake up with one mission, to be better than you were yesterday. You start holding yourself accountable not to others, but to the person in the mirror. You realize that leadership doesn't come from titles or status. It comes from consistency. It comes from walking the talk. It comes from living the message you preach. People will question you. They'll call you obsessed, too serious, too intense. But that's what happens when your discipline exposes their laziness. That's what happens when your focus reminds them of their distractions. You can't expect others to understand your vision. It wasn't given to them. Your path is yours alone, and if you want to lead, you have to walk it first. Being the standard means being okay with being misunderstood. It means carrying the weight that others can't. It means doing what's right, not what's popular. When you live by a higher standard, people start to notice, not because you're trying to prove something, but because you're consistent when they're not. They'll see your discipline, your endurance, your resilience, and they'll start asking how you do it. That's how leadership happens. Not by preaching, but by living. When you become the standard, your actions speak louder than any speech. You become proof that it's possible to live with strength, integrity, and purpose in a world that constantly tries to break it. To become the standard, you have to redefine what excellence means to you. It's not about perfection. It's about commitment. It's about showing up every day no matter how you feel. It's about doing the hard things with a good attitude. It's about staying disciplined when it's boring, staying humble when you win, and staying hungry when you lose. The standard isn't something you hit once, it's something you live. It becomes who you are. It becomes your identity. You don't rise to it occasionally. You maintain it relentlessly. The world doesn't change because of people who talk about what's possible. It changes because of people who live it. The unbreakable don't just talk about toughness, they live tough. They don't talk about discipline, they live disciplined. They don't talk about resilience, they embody it. Every action, every habit, every decision becomes proof of their standard. That's how they inspire others. Not through words, but through presence. People look at them and realize that greatness isn't magic, it's consistency. It's self-control. It's refusing to break when everyone else would. Becoming the standard also means taking ownership of your actions, your mindset, your outcomes. You stop blaming circumstances. You stop pointing fingers. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You understand that no one's coming to save you. No one's going to hand you strength, discipline, or purpose. You have to build it yourself brick by brick, day by day. Every time you choose effort over excuse, you add another layer to your foundation. Every time you keep going when it's hard, you become a little more unbreakable. Leadership isn't about being above others. It's about showing them what's possible. It's about being the one who stands firm when everyone else gives up. When you become the standard, you make the path easier for others to follow. You give them proof that endurance exists, that strength is real, that transformation is possible. You show them that it's okay to fail as long as you don't quit. You become the light in a world that constantly goes dark. That's the real impact of becoming the standard. You don't just change yourself, you change others without even trying. But don't mistake being the standard for being perfect. You'll still fail. You'll still fall. The difference is you'll get back up faster. You'll learn from every mistake and use it to sharpen your edge. You won't hide from failure. You'll study it, dissect it, and grow from it. Because that's what being the standard means, never settling for less than your best, even when no one would blame you for doing so. You become unbreakable not because you never fall, but because nothing can keep you down for long. The world doesn't need more followers, it needs examples. It needs people who are willing to do what others won't. People who don't just talk about hard work, but live it. People who show up day after day, rain or shine, tired or not, motivated or drained. You can't become unbreakable if you're still living on borrowed standards. You have to create your own. You have to decide what integrity means to you, what work ethic means to you, what excellence means to you. Then you live by that code, no exceptions, no excuses. When you live that way long enough, people start to feel your energy before you even speak. They can sense your strength, your discipline, your presence. That's what being the standard does. It radiates. It makes others step up. It raises the entire environment around you. And that's the point. You don't just survive life, you elevate it. You don't just exist in the world, you influence it. You don't just adapt to the standard, you become it. So stop waiting for someone else to lead. Stop waiting for perfect timing, the right plan, or external validation. Decide that today you will be the one who doesn't quit when it's hard, the one who refuses to settle, the one who shows others what unbreakable really looks like. The art of becoming unbreakable isn't about having no weaknesses. It's about refusing to live by them. It's about choosing strength every single day until it becomes second nature. You don't follow the path, you are the path. You don't meet the standard, you are the standard. And once you live that truth, nothing in this world can break you again.